Chapter 281 to 285. She sat in the car without moving. Of course, William Walton wouldn't urge her either. However, the butler turned around and asked, "Mrs. Walton, do you need me to knock on the door?" She shook her head. "No need. We'll wait for a while." The butler only thought that it would still take some time for her to warm up and accept the matter of going to the Anderson family to live, so he kept his mouth shut. Half an hour passed. William Walton looked at him. "Do you know what Anderson family means by this?" She raised her eyebrows and said, "They want to put on airs for me." "No, they are telling you that no one here cares about you. They want you to pray for yourself, and they will have you suffer in the future." She glanced at the Anderson family's gate, her eyes filled with calmness. It doesn't matter, she promised to come back this time because she was prepared. They didn't care about her. They didn't care at all. However, the score had to be a bit larger. "The butler, may I trouble you to make a call to John Anderson to inform him that I have returned and have him do as I have agreed with him? I will only wait for them for 5 minutes, and after that, I will consider the agreement he made null and void and return home." "Yes, Miss Walton." The butler got out of the car and made a call from the side. Very soon, the Anderson family's door was opened, and 2 servants walked out. One of them came to the car and knocked on the window. "Second, miss, I came to invite you home." William Walton rolled down the window. The moment they saw that the person in the carriage was William Walton, the servant of the Anderson family tensed up. "Mr. Walton." William Walton did not reply. She looked at the servant indifferently. "What, are you two the masters of this Anderson family now?" No. "Second, miss, we came here on Mr. Anderson's orders to bring you home." "Go back and tell John Anderson he knows what I want." Seeing that she refused to get out of the car, the servant trotted back to the villa. Less than 2 minutes. John Anderson personally came out. He came to the side of the car and said with a serious face, "Laura, to return home. Why do you still have to be so grand?" "It is because I'm returning to my own home that I have to put on a show." John Anderson looked at William Walton. "Why is Mr. Walton here too?" "My wife inexplicably insisted on staying at home for a few days, and I have always spoiled her, so I could only personally send her back." John Anderson nodded, then looked at Laura. "Your auntie and your sister went to shop. Your brother went to the company. I am the male owner of the Anderson family. I am here to pick you up. Come, follow me home," John Anderson said as he walked in the direction of Laura and took the initiative to open the car door. After getting off the carriage, William Walton followed along with her. John Anderson got someone to bring the tea out. He personally brewed tea for William Walton and Laura. William Walton did not accept his kindness, and only said, "I am not here to drink tea today. My wife will stay at your Anderson family for a few days. She has always been spoiled and raised by me by my side, and her temper is not very good. If you can't stand her, send her back. If you can stand her, then take good care of her. You owe her. In addition, in order to prevent her from getting infected by the Anderson family's evil habits, I gave her a housekeeper and an aunt to take care of her alone. Anderson family did not need to be too worried about her living arrangements. Also, my wife will not stay here for long. I will only give you a week to act." John Anderson had originally been suppressing the anger in his heart. But now, he seemed to be unable to endure it any longer. "Mr. Walton, aren't you going to be too much of a bully? If you want to marry my daughter, do you even need to ask for my permission? She was raised by my mother-in-law. Before the marriage, I went to ask for permission from her grave. But she is also my daughter. Born without raising, you are unworthy of being a father. Have you heard of this before, Mr. Anderson?" Even though she was still angry at William Walton. But to see him smacking John Anderson in the face like this, she truly released her anger in her heart. Thus, this man could be of help at a critical moment. Anger appeared in John Anderson's eyes. "Mr. Walton, I know that you and Laura are in a free relationship, but considering the relationship between Walton family and the Anderson family, I really feel that Mr. Walton and my daughter are not very suitable." "Oh, I remember last time. Boss was very active in finding old General to help that ugly bastard who had undergone plastic surgery. It looks like Mr. Anderson really likes to do things that would cause stones to fall on one's feet." John Anderson was unhappy in the past. "No one knew that you and Laura were really together. I also never thought that you would actually marry Laura. If I knew that you two would get married, I definitely wouldn't have asked him to discuss this marriage. My Betty Anderson has already lost all face because of you. How can you still say such words? Are you sure your daughter lost face because of me? When did I, William Walton, say that I knew your daughter? When did I ever say I wanted to marry her in front of the press?" She thought that she had the ability to control the entire situation, but in the end, her trick failed. What? Even after she received retribution, did she still need me, William Walton, to pay? These words made John Anderson speechless. William Walton crossed his legs in satisfaction. One more thing. I hope boss can still remember that Laura is my wife, my woman. She is now a member of Walton family, not a Anderson family like you. You better not learn from your brainless daughter, and do whatever you think you should do. If she suffers a little grievance in your home, I will definitely make your family pay an unbearable price. I, William Walton, will keep my word. After he finished speaking, he stood up, and his gaze landed on the butler. Take good care of Miss Walton. If any mishaps were to happen to her, I will ask of you. Yes, Mr. Walton, the butler replied respectfully. William Walton looked at him and said in a gentle voice, I'll return to the company first. Let's go, send me off. He pulled her up and they went out together. She then walked to the door and left William Walton's embrace. Seeing her alienation, William Walton rubbed her head. She turned her face away. Goodbye. She was about to go into the house. William Walton grabbed her wrist, pulled her into his embrace, and hugged her. Just as she was about to struggle, she heard William Walton say, There's a monitor at the Anderson family's gate. This time, she was actually quite gentle. Don't think that I will be grateful to you just because you've helped me. Then just assume that I'm doing this for the sake of the child. As long as you don't take offense, it won't affect the child. Don't forget at all time. You are William Walton's wife. You are a woman with a scepter in your hand. Don't let yourself be wronged, huh? She pushed him, but did not push him. She could only impatiently ask, Aren't you leaving? William Walton released her and held her shoulders. I am leaving. But before I do, can you promise me one thing? Laura did not make a sound. She didn't know what it was, but she wouldn't agree so easily. I am very sure that Nick Anderson's feelings for you are not only sisterly. In the past few days here, you two will be together, so promise me, no matter how nice he is to you, it will not be easy to be bewitched by him. Don't touch even the slightest bit of feelings for him, okay? Are you done? She asked in a cold voice. Laura, it's not that I don't believe you. It's that I don't believe Nick Anderson. You don't have to believe me. On the surface, she was indifferent. It's just like in the future. I won't unconditionally believe you either. These words confused William Walton. Why don't you believe me? Because I hate deceit. I hate betrayal. After she finished speaking, she turned around and was about to enter the Anderson family. William Walton tugged her wrist, Laura. Laura shook off his hand, completely ignoring the camera or something. She walked quickly into the villa. William Walton stood in place, slightly dazed. Her anger was never an act. Because of this, he was worried. He really didn't expect that in this lifetime. He would be worried about the future because of a woman. As expected, once a man was in a relationship, it was a very scary thing. When she returned to the villa, the butler had already gone to check the room for her. John Anderson sat on the sofa, his face extremely dark. When Laura walked in, he coldly said, Laura, you're really amazing. You've really found a good backer. She smiled. Thank you for your praise. Do you really think I'm praising you? Remember, if you don't listen to the words of the old man, you will definitely suffer. I have been fighting in this circle for so many years, so I have long seen clearly the faces of the people in this circle. Right now, William Walton may have feelings that are as deep as the ocean for you, but if one day his gaze falls on someone else, then you will be doomed forever because of his love. Let me give you a word of advice. Don't take yourself too seriously, and don't be so forceful anymore. Only by doing this can you avoid losing too miserably in the future when you are abandoned. She pursed her lips in a gentle manner. Back then, my mom really didn't take herself seriously, which was why her life is such a mess. Since she doesn't take herself seriously and loses, why should I care so much about winning or losing? The process was more important to me. I don't want to be the second Elizabeth Green, so I want to live a strong life. Even if I have to lose in the end, even if my life will be miserable, at the very least I have worked hard for my own life. After she finished speaking, she turned around and called out, Butler? The butler came out of the room and stood at the corner of the stairs on the second floor. Miss Walton. She went up the stairs and followed the butler into the room. The butler said, Mrs. Walton, I have checked this room. There are no problems. He nodded. Thank you, the butler. Miss Walton, do not be courteous with me. This is what I should do. What you should do is to command other people in the Walton family, not here. You shouldn't be on edge together with me. The butler laughed. Mr. Walton's orders are what I should do. To Mr. Walton, there is nothing more important than you. She gently placed her hand on her abdomen. He did it for this child. The butler sighed. Miss Walton, I have worked in Walton family for so many years. But I have never seen Mr. Walton working for such a woman. You are really the first. I heard from Thomas that Mr. Walton was staying in big city home night and day, and that a pack of cigarettes was not enough to help him. It had been a long time since he smoked like this. Now Mr. Walton's happiness, anger, and sadness were all revolving around Miss Walton. You're happy, Mr. Walton was happy too. You're sad. Mr. Walton started to find a reason to help you get rid of all the worries. Miss Walton, as an employee of the Walton family, I think Mr. Walton's feelings for you cannot be more genuine. She walked to the sofa and sat down, feeling a little heavy. The butler had finished saying what he needed to say, and he respectfully bowed towards Laura. Young madam, you can rest for a bit. I'll be right outside the door. If you need anything, just tell me. Thank you. After the butler went out, she turned sideways and rested his head on the edge of the sofa. Her heart was in a mess, so much so that she could not make heads or tails of it. At noon, there was a knock on the door. Who is it? She asked warily. Miss Walton, it's me. She said. The butler, come in. The butler opened the door with lunch in hand. I think that Mrs. Walton probably doesn't want to go downstairs to eat, so I brought you lunch. She smiled as she wished. She had been wondering what she should do for lunch. Thank you. Miss Walton, you are being too polite again. This is all prepared and sent by Walton family's auntie. It's very clean. Don't worry about eating. I'll come and take it after you are done. While she was eating, Helen Anderson's sharp voice came from the door. This is my home. When did it become your servant's decision? Fuck off. She stood up, walked to the door and opened it. When Helen Anderson saw her, he looked like an exploding lion. Miss Walton. Seeing her, the butler respectfully stood to the side. Helen Anderson snorted. Miss Walton? Hey, a bastard that was raised by a slut dares to be addressed like that? She was not angry at all, and sarcastically said to Helen Anderson, Unfortunately, that slut raised me, and it just so happens that I am the Madam CEO of Walton Group, which turned your Anderson family into a mess. As long as I am not happy, I can make my husband ruin your Anderson family. Don't say it too early. Our Anderson family is not made of sand. I do not know if it is a pile of sand, but I do know that compared to the Walton Group, you are ants at the feet of elephants. Even with a magnifying glass, it would be hard to find you. You? Helen Anderson raised her hand and pointed at her. She swept her hand away with a cold expression, then raised her eyebrows and spoke with a tone of arrogance. The butler is here to take care of me. He represents the entire Walton family, so don't yell at him. You don't have the qualifications. Helen Anderson clenched her fists. Laura, you. Before she could finish her sentence, she heard the sound of porcelain being smashed downstairs. Helen Anderson quickly turned around and went downstairs. Then Betty Anderson shouted with all her might. Get that bitch down here. This is my house, not hers. The butler said, Mrs. Walton, you should go inside to rest. These sounds will only cause you trouble. She nodded at him. She had only been in the room for a few minutes when she heard someone shouting at the door, Second miss. Eldest miss invites you downstairs. The butler bellowed, Our Miss Walton is resting right now. Please leave. However, the other party did not seem to care about the butler at all, and continued to shout, Second miss, second young miss. Her voice was not loud, but it was loud enough for the other party to hear it. If anything happens to her, ask her to come up and find me. I am not a servant that can be sent by her as she pleases. If not, don't disturb my rest. Hearing this, the servant of the Anderson family could only go downstairs. Not long later, another sound came from the door. This time, it was Betty Anderson and the butler who were arguing. The butler did not say anything. He was only preventing her from entering the room. On the other hand, Betty Anderson was scolding the butler shamelessly. You are just a dog from Walton family in my territory. Why are you pretending to be a clown? Scram, the butler berated. Miss Anderson, you are a highly educated person. Don't you understand the principle that people should not barge into other people's rooms? Her room? This is my home. My home. I told you to scram. At this moment, she had already opened the door from the inside. Betty Anderson pointed at her with her hand and scolded loudly. Bitch, you sure are pretentious. Did you really think that I wouldn't dare to come and tear you apart? Seeing that, the butler moved his hand and held Betty Anderson's wrist, pushing it back. Betty Anderson shouted in pain. It's so painful. Save me. You are killing me. The butler pushed her to the side. Miss Anderson, please take care of your words and actions. You can insult me, but our mess? Walton is not a person that you can insult. Betty Anderson looked at the butler and said angrily, "You did this on purpose." The butler sneered. "Then you go and sue me when that time comes. I will ask the Anderson family for evidence. Miss Anderson shouldn't want the public to see. How did you act so rashly in your own home and bully your half-sister? You must know, your father invited Miss Walton to come back because he wanted her to help him." For the first time, Laura realized that the butler was actually this powerful. She walked to the door with a hint of indifference in her expression. "Betty Anderson, listen, this is the butler. Mr. Walton sent them to protect me. In the future, if you want to talk to me, that's fine, but you have to stand 3 meters away. 3 meters is a safe distance set by our Lord Third. As long as we can get beyond this distance, we will have to bear the consequences." Betty Anderson gritted her teeth and said, "Is it that amazing to have Mr. Walton backing you up? You don't have to show off here." "Show off? In my life with Mr. Walton, this is a very ordinary thing. There is no need to show off. But you, how much lack of love do you have to define this as showing off? Or is it, no man has ever been so nice to you? Hey, that's really pitiful. I had thought that the young miss of the Anderson family would be favored by a man after she had changed her appearance. But who would have thought that she would still be so sad and cold? Now, I can tell that it's very important for a beautiful mother to give birth to her natural beauty. Laura, I want to kill you." Betty Anderson had just reached out a hand to Laura, but quickly retracted it back. She looked at the butler and said angrily, "This is the Anderson family. Get that old thing out of here immediately. Go and talk to your father. You should know that your father personally talked to Mr. Walton about this matter." "I do not care," but the butler followed Mr. Walton's orders. Without Mr. Walton's order, the butler would never leave this place. "You?" Betty Anderson trembled from anger. A moment later, she leaned against the wall, her face pale. "She just came back from the hospital with the IV. I'll let you know. Don't think that once you live in the Anderson family, you will truly become the Anderson family. You won't be able to get even a single bit of our Anderson family's wealth. The Anderson family is not my father's. It's my grandfather's." Laura did not care about what Betty Anderson had become. She only nodded her head leisurely. You did remind me. Before I came, I really didn't think about it, but I don't want a share of the Anderson family. Firstly, I don't lack money due to my current status. And secondly, I find the Anderson family's money dirty. But now I have changed my mind. No matter how dirty this money is, it is better than being squandered by scum like you. It seems more meaningful for me to invest it in the public service, build up a school, and save poor families. Therefore, I will split all of Father's assets." Laura. Betty Anderson's body was on the verge of collapse, as if she was about to faint at any moment. But even so, she still did not forget to point at her and throw a tantrum. She said in a cold voice, "If I were you, I wouldn't have struck a rock with an egg. Perhaps you're begging me, but I'll have to be merciful and not ask for this bit of money." "You're delusional. Then forget about it. Anyway, if you beg me, I might not necessarily be kind to you. This is how I treat your Anderson family. After all, I haven't forgotten how you treated us both back then." After saying that, she smiled charmingly. "Is there anything else?" "Big sis? Just you wait. I won't let you go." "Okay, I'll wait," she said, shrugging her shoulders as if she didn't care about you at all. Just as she was about to close the door, she saw Nick Anderson walking over. Upon seeing Nick Anderson, Betty Anderson slid to the ground while leaning on the wall. Seeing that, Nick Anderson hurried forward and picked Betty Anderson up. "Betty, what's wrong with you?" "Brother, I hate this woman. I hate her so much. Kick her out." Nick Anderson glanced at her, lowered his head, and said to Betty Anderson, "I'll send you back to the hospital." "I don't want to go to the hospital. If you send me to the hospital, I will die for you to see," Nick Anderson said in displeasure. "Stop messing around." "I am not messing around. This is my home. I want to stay here. I want to look after this woman. I definitely won't let her stay in the Anderson family and act mighty." Nick Anderson looked at her. After thinking about William Walton's words, she hesitated for a moment before taking a step back. She returned to her room and closed the door. Nick Anderson carried Betty Anderson. "All right. You need to rest now. I'll send you back to your room." With that, Betty Anderson no longer shouted. Nick Anderson went downstairs, looked at his parents, who were arguing on the lawn outside the villa, and then said to the servant, "Get a doctor for Betty Anderson." "Yes, young master." Nick Anderson looked up the stairs and sighed. His home was in chaos. When he returned upstairs, the butler was still sitting in front of the door. He said, "Can I have a few words with my sister alone?" The butler turned around and knocked on the door. Mrs. Walton, Nick Anderson has something to tell you. Is that okay? She sat down on the edge of the bed, feeling a little conflicted. While she had lived in the Anderson family for the past few days, she had not been able to avoid meeting Nick Anderson. It would be better to be frank from the beginning. She looked in the direction of the door. Without any hesitation, she walked over and opened the door. Nick Anderson looked at her, his gaze as gentle as ever. Let me bring you to the roof to sit for a while, she said to the butler. The butler? I'll be right back. You should rest for a bit. The butler took a glance at Nick Anderson, then nodded. Okay, Miss Walton. Laura followed Nick Anderson to the top of the building. On top of it was a small and quaint pavilion with elegant decorations. Nick Anderson pointed to the stone bench under the pavilion. Sit down. She walked over and sat down. Nick Anderson sat on the seat beside her. They were both silent for a long time. Nick Anderson then said, I really never thought that the two of us would have the chance to meet at this house and quietly drink tea and chat. She looked around but didn't say anything. Nick Anderson continued, Actually, this has always been the scene I have been most looking forward to. But for some reason, when I see you right now, my mood is actually very heavy. Laura, in the end, you still walked on the path that I don't want you to take. She took a deep breath and looked at him. Do you not want me to walk into this house? Or do you not want me to marry William Walton? Nick Anderson replied honestly, neither of them. She pursed her lips and smiled faintly. She shifted her gaze away and looked into the distance. Laura, do you have anything you want to tell me? She shook her head. Has the relationship between us siblings already reached this stage? Are you still mad at me for taking you away last time? She said. Is it important to be angry? My life, every path is my own choice. I will not regret your opposition. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. In the future, I will bear the consequences myself. Nick Anderson helplessly shook his head. You didn't have to come to this step today. If you had listened to me from the beginning and stayed further away from William Walton, perhaps. She interrupted him. There's no such thing as a knife, then all the arrangements are the best for me. Do you really love him that much? Love. Yes. She had fallen in love with William Walton. But when she thought of all the things that William Walton had done for Carol Wright, her heart began to churn with waves of pain. Seeing her hesitation, Nick Anderson reached out and grabbed her hand. Laura, it's still not too late. I still want to ask you that question from last time. If I drop everything and take you away, are you willing to leave with me? She looked at him. Even now, how could he still? I have to insist on taking her away. Didn't he know her personality well? If she really wanted to agree, she wouldn't have refused last time. Laura, have you considered this question carefully these past few days? I really want to hear your affirmative answer, okay? She said. My answer is the same. I don't want to. Nick Anderson was truly unreconciled. Why did it have to be him? Is he really worth your life? No one in this world has ever treated me as well as he did. Perhaps the people of the world think that he is cold and heartless. But in my eyes, he is a perfect good person. What about me? Am I not good enough for you? As she looked at his currently burning gaze, she was somewhat afraid that he would suddenly tell her the truth. You were kind to me too, so I've always been grateful to you. You're a good brother, he said with a pained expression, since you know what I'm going to do to you. Why do you always refuse to listen to me? Because I'm not sure. So what you're saying is definitely true. You're also very young and have never experienced any emotions. So why are you so determined to believe that the person I'm looking for must be wrong? You don't understand William Walton, do you? He is one from Walton family, and he has irreconcilable hatred with the Anderson family. In my opinion, it is abnormal for him to be close to you. But I hate Anderson family as well. Perhaps my hatred towards the Anderson family is even stronger than that of the Walton family. It's not only because the Anderson family owes him a life, it also owes me a life. My mother's life, could it be that it is so lowly that you all can ignore it? He felt frustrated as he said, That's not what I meant. I was saying, no matter what you mean, I just want to tell you that the people you see in your eyes are different from the people I see in my eyes. Because you do not know how good he is to me, you will use your own thoughts to deduce him and impose these thoughts on me. What you don't know is that I've been with him for a long time and observed him for a long time before I'm sure how good he is. Moreover, if it were so easy to control emotions, then there wouldn't be so many children who disobey their parents in this world. Nick Anderson sighed. So, you really approve of him? She nodded. Although she was not resigned to speaking up for William Walton right now, but at this very moment, she had to bear with it. How could Nick Anderson be reconciled to this? He then asked, if we set aside family relationships, if I wasn't your brother, who would you choose? she answered without the slightest hesitation. William Walton. Why? In your heart, he's already so much better than me, to the extent that you won't even hesitate? You're very good too, but you are one from the Anderson family. Nick Anderson raised his hand and covered his face, looking like he was in pain. She stood up. If there's nothing else, I'll head downstairs first. Seeing that he didn't make a sound, she turned around and was about to leave. Nick Anderson released her hand and grabbed her wrist. When she turned around, he just happened to raise his head and look at her sorrowfully. There's something else I want to tell you. When she saw his gaze, she had a strange premonition. She shook her head and said, I don't want to hear it. I'm going downstairs to rest. You have to listen. If I don't speak of this matter now, I'm afraid I will go insane from my own torture. Laura, I am from the Anderson family, but I am not your parents' son. I am not your blood brother at all. She was so worried that she didn't know what to say. To her, this was no longer a secret. However, she didn't expect that he would reveal this matter at this moment. Laura, you often ask me why I have to be so good to you. Today, I'll tell you the answer, because I'm not your blood brother, so I've never treated you as my sister, in my eyes. You have always been a woman. To me, you are a woman full of charm and fatal temptation. And I treat you well. It's because I love you, not like you, but like a man, like that. Love for a woman. At this moment, a figure was carefully crouching on the stairs, listening to everything that had happened. Feeling flustered in her heart, she pulled her hand back a few times, but was unable to break free. Nick Anderson looked at her in a daze and continued. Actually, I wanted to be honest with you a long time ago, but every time the words reached my mouth, they scare you. Seeing that you were getting closer and closer to William Walton, I was truly very anxious. I was afraid that I would be able to carefully protect the you that I had grown up in, and that someone else would snatch it away. That was the reason why I repeatedly said that I had provoked you. Laura, my feelings for you are serious, so don't entrust all of your heart to William Walton. And think about me properly, okay? I am different from him. I can throw away everything for you at any time, and bring you away from this place as long as you nod your head. She tried her best to calm down. Brother, let go of me first. Stop calling me brother. Her voice rose a few decibels. Then what should I call you? Nick Anderson? Boss? I'm really sorry. I can't give you any response to your feelings. No matter how sincere your feelings towards me are, I'm now a married woman. I won't do anything to betray my own husband. Taking a step back, even if I'm not married, I will not be with you. Even if you are not Anderson family, not Nick Anderson or Helen Anderson's son, but you were raised by them. If you ask me which makes me feel safer between you and William Walton, I will choose him without hesitation. Because the enemy of an enemy was a comrade in arms. As for you, you will never be able to feel my pain. You will only pity me and then persuade me to be magnanimous, strong, and forgiving. And these are all things that I do not want. She looked down at his hand that was gripping her wrist. I think I've made it clear. Can you let go now? Nick Anderson's fingers slowly loosened. She said in a calm manner, You have chosen the most inappropriate time to express your own thoughts, and I can only apologize to you. I hope that you can quickly arrange this relationship and stop moving forward. After she finished speaking, she turned around and walked downstairs. Nick Anderson placed his hand on the stone table and laughed bitterly. Yes, this was indeed the most inappropriate time. He should have told her the truth the first time he saw William Walton send her back to school. He was always like this, indecisively missing out on everything he wanted. When she returned to her room, she felt a wave of discomfort in her heart. In the future, she wouldn't even have the chance to lie to herself anymore. She had no brother. For dinner that night, she ate her room. During dinner, William Walton called her, but she didn't answer. Very quickly, the butler knocked on the door and walked in, passing her his phone. Miss Walton, a video call of Mr. Walton. She lowered her head and said, I'm eating. I don't have time. The butler could only say to William Walton, Mr. Walton, Mrs. Walton is eating. William Walton was not angry and said, The butler, put your phone on the table and then go out. Yes, Mr. Walton. The butler put down his phone and turned to leave. After staring at the person on the screen, she continued eating. William Walton said just now, the butler said that you performed very well today. Laura did not make a sound. William Walton then continued, That's right. Finding a husband was originally to order him around. In the future when they bully you again, just take me out and suppress them. Good job. Laura put down her fork and looked coldly at William Walton, who was on the screen. I'm eating. Can you not disturb me? I'm eating too. Look. William Walton turned the camera around and showed his dinner on the screen. The camera was quickly replaced by her. William Walton muttered to himself, "I'm used to eating with you." "I'm not used to it, even if you're not here. Do you think you have no appetite without me?" "I had a good appetite just now, but now I really have no appetite anymore." William Walton pretended to be angry and snorted. "Are you saying that I've made you lose your appetite?" She stared at him without saying a word. William Walton looked like he had received a blow and said helplessly, "Do I look so disgusting?" "Say it then. You could tell me, what kind of face do you like? I'll go to Korea or Thailand. I'll definitely make you satisfied." When she heard this, she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The way William Walton coaxed people was not suitable for her at all. "Why aren't you talking? Anderson family gave you some mute medicine?" She stared at him. William Walton laughed. "All right, if you don't want to talk. Just give me a few expressions, otherwise I will think that I am stuck." She put down her fork. "William Walton, is this interesting?" William Walton also put down his fork, folded his arms, and placed them on the table. "It's boring, you talking about me. That would be interesting. I need to calm down now. You've been calm for 2 days. I'm afraid that if you continue to do so, it will turn me cold." She raised her hand and rubbed the space between her eyebrows. She knew that William Walton was a stubborn man. She couldn't stop what he wanted to do. Well then, didn't he want to watch her eat? Let him be. As long as she didn't look at him, it would be fine. Seeing that she had finally started to eat again, William Walton laughed. "Didn't you notice? We are eating the same food?" She had not paid attention to the dishes on the table, so she had no idea. Even if we aren't together, the food would always be the same. I heard that when couples eat the same food every day, they will grow to look more and more alike. Have you ever heard of that? I feel like we're already look like each other. What do you think? No, she didn't. She was nothing like him. She didn't speak, but William Walton kept on eating and talking to himself. William Walton knew that even she had heard it all. And she also felt very surprised. She never knew before that William Walton could actually speak this much. After eating, she used the excuse that she needed to take a bath to pass the phone to the butler. Just as she was about to sleep after showering, the butler's voice came from the door. "Miss Walton, Mr. Anderson is here." When Laura arrived at the door, she looked at John Anderson. Her gaze was cold, but she did not say a word. John Anderson said, "Tomorrow morning, don't get up too late. I'm going to take you out." There was no response, no objection. She only took a step back and closed the door. John Anderson left bitterly. She raised her eyebrows. She didn't expect him to be so impatient. Well, he had to make use of her before she was free. The sooner this show ended, the better.